This episode of the Golf Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is offering plenty of markets this week, and you can go get them at Golf SGPN and to claim your special pick plus a first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Use UnderdogFantasy.com promo code Golf SGPN. And we're also brought to you by the Mega Memorial merch sale, 50% off everything with the code SGPN May at the SPN merch store. All right, DJs, welcome back. It's a little recap of the PGA and the Charles Schwab Challenge coming up. Steve, how are you, buddy?
You know, I'm trying not to be angry, trying to keep composure, trying to keep perspective on everything. You know, I mean, listen, I made a giant bet on the under winning score, so that was a pretty good bet. I was basically freeholding the entire tournament. Made some big bets on Tiger Woods sucking for his 2 days, so that was great too. You know, I'm getting a little sick of the Twitter with Steve special, as I think it's been known to everybody. The position only bet ends up winning. Getting a little sick of runner-up finishers with outrights. And especially sick of the fact that I've been going to bat for loser Xander Schauffele at 14-1. And this is the week that he finally decides to his credit.
He was 10-1 this week. 10-1.
Well, he started the week at 14-1. But to his credit, manned up after doing the most prototypical Xander thing possible on the par 5 10th and bogeying and looking like he was going to be completely out of it. And then he hit 2 straight birdies and actually manned up and won the tournament. So congratulations to Xander Schauffele, a flaccid golfer winning on a flaccid golf course. I think is pretty fitting for that. Yeah, I sit here not all that thrilled with what happened, despite being up for the week, which probably means I should go see a psychiatrist at this point.
Steve, I could have told you how long we're doing the show?
We're doing this about 3.5 years.
3 years, yeah. I could have told you needed to go see a psychologist back then, buddy.
Oh, why is that? Why is that? Because I spend my Sunday nights analyzing Google Earth and, you know, trying to tell everybody how golf courses plays and agronomy and all that.
Now it's more about your control issues.
Control issues. Go into that more, actually. Let's expand. Let's expand the control.
No.
How is that?
Couples therapy later on. We don't need to let everybody in on the couples therapy that we go through.
Okay. So I'm trying to think, where do we even go from here?
I don't know. I mean, listen, let's talk about Xander, right? So he finally won the major. I don't know. I mean, is that good for golf? Or would a Bryson win did better for golf? I'm serious. Why are you laughing?
I just think it's funny that's the first place you go to. I think it's kind of I don't know. I don't think Xander winning is necessarily good for golf. No. Like in the grand scheme of things.
Right, the grand scheme of things. Right, correct.
I think Bryson would have been better. I think I actually heard
so much more juice. So much more juice. How many people turned in? What the fuck day was it? Was it Friday when Scotty got arrested? All these people tuned in. They were talking about it on Boston Sports Radio. Golf never gets talked about on Boston Sports Radio. They listened. They talked about it. It's a 4-hour show. The Velvet and Maz later on in the afternoon. They talked about it for at least 2 hours about like if he was wrong, if he was right, if it was this. They've never talked about anything, and 2 of them are big golfers.
Well, I mean,
this is the shit that the golf needs to get put on the fucking map.
Well, it certainly isn't the golf course that would get stuff put on the map. I mean, we'll get to that in a little bit. I guess why I think Bryson probably would have been better in the grand scheme of things is, and I this is not my original take. I'm stealing this take, but he has a giant YouTube channel, and think of it what you want. But if you are a mega million professional golfer, decorated golfer like Bryson DeChambeau, and you put that much effort into a YouTube channel, say what you want. Maybe some of the content is for you. Maybe some content is not for you. But the guy loves golf. The fact that he is doing that in his free time, trying to drive interest in the game. And that would have been bigger and a better story and outcome for professional golf, regardless of what you think about life,
100%.
is
100% agree.
a dude who is actually trying to be engaging and social, and think of him as awkward as you think he is, which he is absolutely awkward.
Awkward is the nicest way you could possibly say how he socially interacts with people.
But the guy also has a ton of interactions with his YouTube channel, and that would have been the bigger mainstream story. I mean, like Bryson, when he putted in from off the green and the amount of juice and energy he gave, the crowd reaction to that, like that's what we needed here. And Xander winning, I think it's very big in our little community, our little tiny little bubble, about how we've always been betting Xander. When exactly is going to be the big breakout moment for him? And
first of all, can I also just say, other than Cam, probably because he's so new to it, anybody who hit this Xander winner at 10 to 12 to 1, you're still fucking down on Xander outrights, especially at majors. So stop fucking victory lapping.
Well, that's the thing. Cam is relatively.
Other than Cam.
Cam hasn't been doing this for all that much. And honestly, that takes probably some balls to actually bet Xander, despite what your reputation about him is. And unfortunately, me finally giving up on the guy 1 week early.
To be fair, you can't even blame me this week because I wasn't here to shame you on the betting show. So this was of your own accord, sir. I didn't shame you. I didn't scream at you about betting Xander the loser. I wasn't even here. You did it on your own. You can't even use me as a scapegoat.
No, I wasn't. I'll use it as a scapegoat for other things about skipping our show on Tuesday. But you know what? That's for an off-show conversation. But no, I said at the beginning of the week, I'm just going to bet him positional. Actually, this is something I actually came to a decision on a couple weeks ago. I forget which tournament he blew it for me again. And I broke my cardinal rule that time and time again for the last 6 years. And guy in our comments, by the way, say golf betting is hard. Yes, golf betting is
Dirt McGarrett, baby.
It's very hard.
Dirt McGarrett.
And I've learned a long time ago, and I continue to break this rule, is the moment you give up on a guy,
they win.
That's when the win is around the corner. So, but it's hard though, because you bet a lot of guys every single week, and there's a lot of guys you end up giving up on, and it really does take, just having those instincts about when to actually bet a guy. And maybe knowing too much and being so inside on this stuff can kind of cloud your judgment. Maybe just not overthinking things, and say, listen, Xander's been playing great. This is a bullshit golf course. He's kind of a bullshit golfer. Of course he would win this thing. It's probably why Colin Morikawa was also in the mix, because he tends to win on bullshit major venues, which we can get to in a little bit. Listen, the one thing about Xander, though, is, and I alluded to it earlier, on what happened on 10, when he made a horrible decision out of the bunker.
Oh, my God. The text chain with Cam and Matt, I was like, oh, no.
So that was when I texted you guys. My daughter fell asleep on me, on my shoulder, and I felt my hip vibrating, and I knew it was you guys. But there was but my priority was not reaching for my phone. My priority was trying to figure out how can I get my beer on the left side of my over on the nightstand there, with my kid on my shoulder there. But the ball was sitting down. He was hitting 3 wood. He was up 2. That was not a great decision. And he had bogey in the hole. And that's kind of what happened last week at Quail Hollow, where he just makes stupid, foolish decisions and starts cascading, and it goes bad for him. But to his credit, he nutted up, hit a great approach shot on 11, made birdie, hit another great approach shot on 12. A bad hole, but a tough hole on the week, made birdie. And he ended up ham and egging a birdie on 18 from a very dicey situation. And that putt on 18,
a fucking easy hole. It's not that dicey.
Well, no, it was dicey in the fact that he put himself in a bad spot off the tee where he had an awkward lie, and then he had to get up and down from like 40 yards. And that putt on 18 is one I have seen him lip out.
Yes, I know. And it almost looked like it was gonna lip out too.
It was going to lip out, but it reminded me of when Phil lipped it in for the 360 at the Masters.
Yeah, okay.
Finally get that win too. get the monkey off his back. Now, Xander's not nearly as decorated golfer as Phil was at that point, but I mean, I will probably take me 24 to 48 hours to get over the bitterness. I am happy for him as a person, as a golfer, because he has had a lot of shit thrown on him time and time again. And it's almost like it's his fault that he's
fairly it's been thrown on him. Like, it's not like it's been fairly thrown on him.
Okay, but like he is always seems like he's towards being in the mix. And it seems like if he just was out of it so much and only popped up every now and then and ended up getting a win, he'd be better off. This guy just continues.
Fine. So all right, so I'll give you this. So once again, I'm going back to toxic Boston sports radio. And what they'll talk about is there'll be people like, well, Joe Montana was better because he was undefeated. So because he got bounced in the fucking first round and he didn't have the shot at the Super Bowl, he's better because he was undefeated in Super Bowls, but he lost all those other playoff series. You don't think about fucking those. So I'll give you that. That makes sense to me. If you're in the mix, you are always more penalized for losing that spot. But Xander has also very recently been in the mix in a bunch and like not closed the deal. Like, he couldn't have done shit about Rory last week. He gained a bazillion strokes. But like the players. So it's nice for Xander to get his monkey off his back.
It is. And he also blew Riviera too. I mean, I know Hideki went nuclear on the back nine, but Xander probably had that tournament. And he was horrible on the front nine. And then when he was out of it, he just got back in the mix. But listen, I mean, the PGA usually is the one major of all of them. It seems like the guy who's been knocking on the door time and time again finally gets it done. So
I don't know. This PGA was insanely easy compared to the last fucking five, as far as scoring wise goes.
All right. Well, why don't we bring Cam on before we put Xander to bed? Cam, can you pop in to the chat right now?
What's up, boys?
Oh, hey, it's the main out of the golf gambling podcast right here. The only guy you should be listening to,
for real,
is Cam. Cam, walk us through how you were bold by picking Xander 14-1 when he has constantly kicked Boston Capper and I in the nuts for the last 3.5 years.
I've lost at least $2,000 on fucking Xander.
Teach me your ways.
So, well, first off, I'm not really a Xander guy. Like I definitely have my guys that I like to bet like every week. So I saw a lot of those on Twitter today. A lot of guys were saying like, this is the one time they don't bet Xander and he wins.
Yeah.
A major at that. So you're not alone in that boat. So, the process this week though was trying to figure out how I add anyone with my beautiful 16-1 Victor Hovland ticket that I got a couple months ago.
Which, by the way, people, can I just interrupt you for a second? The guy that you want to listen to right now decided it was a great idea to bet a guy 16-1 back in December, thinking he was going to get CLV at that point. So, okay, continue.
Steve, be nice. Steve, be nice.
Continue.
No, it was ridiculous. And the reason I did is because I guess like one of my locals was like changing sites or something like that. And so I had like a 40-1 Victor ticket, and then I lost it because that's just how it works in this unregulated industry. But So I immediately went to one of my offshores and just bet it at whatever number it was, just because I wasn't really thinking about closing line value at that point. So then he starts to play bad this season, like really bad. And I'm just watching his odds skyrocket to like 80, and I can't cash out a 16-1.
80? What book are you using?
Okay, whatever it was. Like the point, like it was high. That's the point. Like much higher than 16. But if I would have cashed out, if I had the option to cash out, I definitely would have, and then I wouldn't have had Victor T3 or solo third ticket as well. So the process was I was on him last week, so that was heartbreaking. But my first reaction to watching the golf on Sunday was I don't think that Xander lost. I think Rory just steamrolled him, right? So
Of course he did. He gained, what did he gain, Steve? 9 strokes? What the fuck was it?
He gained 9 strokes. I think the problem was when Rory started to make his run, that is where Xander just faltered, though. It was a combination of both. Like Xander, because listen, would it have played out a little differently if Xander could put a little more pressure on him during that crunch time around between like holes 8 and like 14? Probably not. But, I think when both scenarios were playing out simultaneously of Xander just doing exactly what we've known him doing, full like a cheap suit, and then Rory just peaking at that point, that's probably where people just said, I'm just out on the guy at this point.
Yep.
And to your credit, because you don't have as much scar tissue as I do, you just kept going to him. So congratulations on that.
So on that first hole last week, I think Rory made like a 25 footer for birdie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're playing golf in a foursome, and I think everyone will agree with me here, like if you get out to a hot start, you get that confidence rolling, and one of your buddies is struggling and making 8s on hole 1, and you just birdied, you are gonna play with more confidence in that round. It's pretty much guaranteed. Like you kind of feed off them doing bad and you doing well. So I think that first hole has a huge impact. And I said it on hole 1 this week when he birdied. I mean, he hit a long putt too. That was going to make the difference and give him that confidence going forward. And you saw it. I mean, Colin Morikawa, 11 straight pars. Like it definitely, I think it's definitely something that not a lot of us think about. But so I bet him last week, and I thought based on the sentiment in like Discord, on Twitter, stuff like that, I thought that Xander was going to be uber chalk this week. Like, all right, we got Xander, he's playing well, and he just came up short, came up second. Like, if he won, I thought that no one was going to tip him. But since he didn't win, I thought that everyone was going to tip him. So when that chart came out on Wednesday, I was trying to decide between him and Rory at 8-1 to go with my 16-1 ticket. And I basically saw the tip chart and he wasn't on there. And so that's when I was like, yep, now's the time. Let's keep going. So
I would say that your lack of knowing what like typical golf bettors do helps you, because there was no one who was going to bet Xander, who doesn't win, prototypical loser going into a major. No one was going to bet him coming off of what happened. Like,
except for Matt Gannon, by the way, who is a very sharp guy. I just want to point that out.
Matt is very sharp. Yes, he is.
Yes.
So he hit boots on the ground. He saw it was going to be super soft, birdie fest. Like, yeah, maybe we.
I did the same. I did the same thing. I didn't land on Xander, so that's more props to him.
Yeah.
But so I watched one of his clips from another network he contracts for, but he said that he watched he watched as many people as he could when he was out there on Monday and Tuesday, and he specifically said that Xander was the only one that looked confident and really good. So he said that that's how he landed on him, which is a little more technical and knowledgeable than my way. But I think that if there's one lesson I've learned throughout this little heater this season that I've got going, is that
little heater. Stop! Just don't downgrade yourself, dude. You're on fucking fire, and you're right. Don't start tweeting your picks. Don't start tweeting your picks.
Yeah, I wanted to bring. I wanted to bring that up too. So, but I think the biggest thing I've learned is that I've watched the most golf I ever have in my entire life. Just as like every single day, the past couple months, I watch every day, as many shots as I can. And if you actually like sit there, watch these guys, see their shot shapes, see how, the amount of greens they can hit.
Take him off the screen.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna
take him off the fucking screen.
I am gonna call you out on this though. You're telling me with the coverage we get, limited as it is, with as few as shots we can actually see, that's really the reason why you're hitting all these outrights.
No, but I kind of know who is playing well, like on Sunday.
I think that's what's really it. It's not what you're watching, because unless you're on the grounds watching everything.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we bet on golfers every single week that we didn't see a single fucking shot on them for the last 3 weeks. And it ends up being successful.
The one who ruined
so I just think you got a good feel on it right now. And I'm going to be completely honest. Your strategy of looking at the tips chart and seeing who everybody's picking and then going and fading it is pretty good, because you know what? I think a lot of people are bad at what they do. But also, what does it feature? Like 6 or 7 guys at that point? What are their implied odds usually? 3-4%. So just fade 7 guys with 3 or 4% implied odds or so. Cumulative probably about 35-40%. You're basically, just eliminate those guys at that point and then pick everybody else.
Yeah, so Matt is actually bigger on this chart than I am. Like he will cash out bets if they're on the tip chart. I'm not superstitious in any way, but I mean,
we fucking know, Cam. We're all well aware of your thoughts on actual mushing.
But this guy that runs this tip account, he gets a lot of guys, and it's just people that put their picks on Twitter. Really, it's not even like professional touts or anything. He gets a ton of guys.
I think he keeps it to content creators.
I've seen. There's a lot of names on that list. So, but my point is, really eventually, if you get enough sample size, it becomes the public. So you have a good vibe of handle and stuff like that. So that I don't, and that's definitely not the only thing I use. I try and play. I play this down a little bit, but I do go on Data Golf and look at the statistics for some of these.
Don't downplay yourself. You are fucking crushing it this year. You are doing good, man. You should be literally slapping it on the table, being like, I am the golf god. That's what you should be doing.
And people are going to be like, well, what the heck? He's not posting his picks beforehand. I mean, I feel like I text you guys.
That's the right way to do it.
Listen,
I 100% agree. Every time I win, it's not when I post my picks or I don't send it out to you. It's 100% a thing. And I feel like that's why you said that too.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily believe in that superstition, because I'm already on record saying I don't think mushing is real, but that is something if you have 6 outrights in one season at halfway through the season, you can't really.
I did last year, by the way. So just want to say that. So
all right, congratulations! You already got your flowers for last year. We're talking about Cam.
So you got, but you can't change it up now. And so I'm not going to do it, because
don't change anything you're doing. No Twitter, no nothing.
Yeah.
We'll put you behind the paywall. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah. And I did come on here and tell everyone to bet Jake Knapp at 43 at the Mexico Open. So
yeah, and I shit on that. And look what happened. Maybe I'm the problem, actually.
I would like to say Dirt McGirt brings up a great point. You have a Rangers jersey and a terrible towel. You're suspect. You are. And if Dirt McGirt only knew what Matt Gannon rooted for, disgustingness. Just I don't know what your fathers did, but they weren't doing their job based on the teams you rooted for. Just saying.
Yeah. So I was never really a Pirates fan. My dad was mainly a Steelers fan, so we kind of watched Steelers games growing up with him, because he's from Pittsburgh. But as far as baseball, we root for the local team. So I root for the Rangers and the Mavericks, since I live out here. So other than that, Steelers all the way.
Steelers suck. You supported a rapist. Ben Roethlisberger raped people. So be happy
Okay,
with that.
great. Cam, edit that out, and let's go to break, by the way. So
I'm not wrong.
you might be wrong.
My wife's famous from Pittsburgh. I say the same thing.
No comment.
All right, Cam.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Congratulations again.
Cam, you're the man. Dude, seriously. Fucking insanely good run this year. And listen, keep it fucking going, man. Please, God, keep it going.
Yep, just cashed out on my Bet Online account a little bit, so that feels good.
You were able to get it off of an offshore book. Love it.
What crypto did you cash it out in? Ethereum or Bitcoin?
No, I did Bitcoin. They do something weird with Ethereum, but I've been getting into. Y'all are gonna judge me for this. I've been getting into online horse racing. Like,
oh my God! So it's all you're gonna lose it all then.
No, not like real horse racing. Like,
no, I know what you mean.
Okay, I own some horses.
That's why it's a problem. Not real. The problem is it's just not real horse racing. Scott Bowser, I love you, buddy.
Wait,
you're doing
stables. Wait, you're doing Zed racing, or whatever it's called, the Zed racing, or whatever it's called.
No, it's a new one. It's called PhotoFinish.live. You can use.
Oh, so it's the same thing though, basically. You own a digital horse, and then
but it's a little bit more than Zed was. Like that was basically all based on like odds, but this one is much more based on like breeding and stuff like that. So
Cam, I am so glad you're on a golf heater, because that is single-handedly funding that Ponzi scheme right there. So that's great. I'm very happy for you that you're taking all your golf outright money and not spending on your family or kid. You're spending it on a goddamn digital
Dogecoin.
So,
this is what we're doing.
Congratulations.
We're betting on Dogecoin.
No, I'm cashing this out, and I'm cashing this out right out.
Cash it out quickly. Don't be a fucking moron.
I'm
you
putting it right in the bank.
You're smart, you're pretty, and you're worth it. So don't fucking bet on goddamn fake horses on the fucking internet. What is the matter with you? Stop it.
I'm cashing out. It's going right in the bank, and we're gonna use it.
That's what they all say.
God damn it! I'm gonna put it on my car payment.
Cameron. Okay. Jesus. Fuck.
What?
Just stop. Just cash out. Just cash out. Please.
Capper, should we go to the stuff you bet?
Yeah.
I'm not betting on fake internet horses that have to have cryptocurrency.
All right. I'd argue that fake internet horses are more real than like Moroccan soccer.
No, that's absolutely not true. You realize that's not true, right? That Moroccan soccer players physically exist.
I'm so glad we didn't go to ad break when I wanted.
Your horse that was born in '69 barn on Mint Avenue that had sex with whatever other horse to breed a 74 rated whatever the fuck doesn't actually exist, and there's some prick ball that you don't know who just pushes a button and decides which horse wins. That's it. Ridiculous. Stop putting your money into it.
Cam, I'm so glad that we didn't go to ad break, because I think you just lost all credibility.
Yeah.
You admit it. You take your winnings and bet on digital horses.
Hey, listen. This is a good lesson for the listeners too, because I mean, this is my fourth year gambling, and anyone you listen to, I don't care who it is, they have shadow bets. They're betting on, women's college basketball in the middle of freaking February, and they're all this money that they're touting they're winning, they're probably losing too. So you just don't know it.
No way. The degenerates who talk about gambling on shit have other gambling bets.
Yeah,
because they have the itch, and we're all addicts. Weird. So weird.
All right. Well, after that, why don't we finally take an ad break?
Cockroaches running up and down the goddamn wall.
Okay. All right. Why don't we take our ad break? Let's put a bow on Valhalla, and then I will attempt to talk about Colonial in a coherent fashion, because honestly, there's not a lot of information out about the golf course and what's happened to it right now. So let's take a break, and then we'll go.
I can't believe he's betting on digital horses. Makes me upset.
Okay. Let's do an ad break. We'll go. Fine. We'll talk about Valhalla still some more. All right.
All right, well, it's the biggest week in racing. The Indy 500, the Monaco Grand Prix, and the Coke 600. Dustin Johnson's favorite event. Rod and Cody from the NASCAR Gambling Podcast and the F1 Gambling Podcast have you covered. Make sure to join their Kyle Larson diecast CAD giveaway. That's free. And just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/race to register. And make sure to subscribe to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast and F1 Gambling Podcast. Plus, we're running a mega memorial merch sale for 50% off, for all the veterans who've died. So, mega merch sale. So SGPN in May at the end of the month. Just go by. We got some new gear in there. Memorial Day. Everybody likes the barbecue and stuff, but listen, I'm not a Republican, but remember, why we're celebrating it.
Okay. All right. We ran long on that tangent there. Thank you, Cam. That was very entertaining.
Fucking digital horse racing. He's so smart. He's not an idiot. It makes me obsessed.
Yeah. Hey, Cam, can you put this comment up on from Dirt McGirt right here? Actually, you know what? I'll just do it right now. You know who else is pissed he made the weekend? Me. Because I had under 10.5 live golfers actually make the weekend, and DJ was hopelessly out of it.
He mushed you. He did it. He mushed you.
He decided to have 4 birdies and 6 holes to make the weekend, and then just limp to a T52 finish. Thanks a lot, DJ. I really appreciate that. That also added to a pretty sour.
Don't you remember Cam mushed you?
Did he? I didn't remember that.
No. I'm coming back.
Yes, you did. See how
I said
fast he came on.
I said no.
Even will be the cut. Even
the cut line. The cut line was even, and I think I said no chance it gets to -1, and it got to +1. So
no, that's not. That doesn't count. Because DJ got to -1. That doesn't count.
Yeah,
he was trying to reassure your bet home.
No. The issue was John Rahm settled it even, which we can get to him in a little bit. John Rahm settled it even, and it was looking like -1 was going to be the cut, and I just needed DJ to just lay the fuck down, and he didn't. He decided he wanted to go fight for 35 grand, I think, over the weekend. Spending our 2 days in Louisville. Say la vie. So it is what it is. A minor dent in the weekend that really was a big blow to my ego, but that's how golf goes. Okay, well, I mean, we spent a lot of time in Valhalla on on Xander and that bet. Let me just do a quick rapid fire to you, Boston Cap, before we put a bow on all this. In or out? In or out on Brooks at a major?
In.
You're in. What the hell happened on Saturday then?
I believe you were correct. When I was crying in my beer, he was snorting cocaine, and he just couldn't play the next day.
So let's give context to this, by the way. Brooks Koepka, a big Florida Panthers fan. You were a big Bruins fan. And while Matt Gannon was also suffering, which, by the way, Matt Gannon just celebrating, spiking footballs on both of us the entire weekend. Panther fan.
I was very polite after the initial angry text.
You were, but then I talked to you afterwards, and your true colors showed at that point.
My true colors was, hey, listen, hockey is a thing, and I'll let it go because it's like a gentlemanly thing to do, but it still makes no sense to me that he's a fucking Panthers fan. He's from Jersey. It makes no sense.
Am I in the nest without you maybe exploding on me right now? I'm glad the Bruins season's over. Let's move on. Let's move on. I know you're gonna be mad about that, but you know what? Let's move on from the Bruins. Okay.
You're so selfish, Steve. I like joy. Why are you trying to take my joy?
Because I like this show. So
I love it. Fine. Yes. I'm actually on board with that. Fine.
Right.
At least you're honest about it. Perfect.
All right. In or out on Rahm right now.
I'm still giggling about you wanting to take my joy. What did you say? John Rahm?
In or out for a
major?
Rahm.
For how long?
John Rahm in general right now. Your boy, your biggest win to date.
Oh man, I think Liz broke. I tweeted you that, or I texted you that. I think it broke him.
I don't understand what's going on. I'm ashamed to admit this. I watch a lot of Liv. he looks fine.
Don't be ashamed to fucking admit it. Like,
I mean, it's not great when you're staying up at 2:30 in the morning watching Live Singapore. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's
the same thing as
watching.
watching.
It's not great.
It's the same thing as watching more garbage TV. I think you're right. There's something wrong with Rom, and I think Liv broke it. Like, I think he maybe presses a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I don't think he's happy with his decision. I really don't.
No, I don't think he's happy at all. I think he was playing. He thought he was playing chess when he was playing checkers. I think he thought that if he went to Live,
everybody else would go.
Everybody else was going to go Live, and that was going to be it. And they were going to all reunite, and he was going to be the big hero for being the sacrificial lamb, going over there, taking the millions of dollars to boot, by the way. And yeah, and he's now stuck on a 3-year contract, allegedly, what they're signing these guys. And it seems like Patrick Cantlay and Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth are hell-bent on keeping everything separate right now. And now he's stuck playing in Singapore and Adelaide and soon to be Nashville, why they're having a tournament in Nashville coming up, I don't really know, but they're having a tournament in Nashville.
I mean, I have an idea.
I have an idea too. We'll talk about that when they actually get super disappointed in Rahm. The fact that he hits a lot of fades, and it wasn't a very difficult setup. And he's been great on Jack Nicklaus golf courses, where if he drove it really good, like he can do, he should have done very well. He allegedly had a great range session before playing the first round. And then
think about that. Think about that with you and your boys. Just pause for a second. Think about that with you and your boys. You're like, I got to put this club away. This one's working. Which one doesn't work as soon as your asshole friend gets on the course?
That one.
The club that worked well. Good range session, bad actual session.
Yeah. So that's not great. All right.
Oh, can I just? This is way off subject. This is going to make you very upset, maybe. But I took my daughter to the range today, and we hadn't been in a little while, and she's gotten a little bigger, and she finally started listening to me about like the straight elbow with the front thing and like swinging hard instead of swinging like scared, crushing the ball off the tee.
Why am I upset that you would talk about that? By the way,
I don't know, because I do real shows and you get mad.
Not for something like that.
Oh, fine. Great. Okay, good.
When you start bitching about the refs, when you start bitching about the refs in Game 4 of a hockey series, then yeah, I'm going to get a little upset about that.
It's fair. You also know what you get with me. But the crushing the ball off the tee today, she was so excited. I was so excited. High-fiving. We got like big a thunderstorm came in, right? So we got big raindrops. The thunderstorm was probably like 30 miles away. We still get big raindrops in Florida. She was like, I want to stay out here and keep hitting balls. I was like, I will stay out here. We can keep hitting balls with you. Let's go. And she's like working on it. She's 11. So yeah, I'm very excited. She loved it. I was very excited about today. Very excited.
That is a good reason to derail the show. I'm very happy that your daughter is into golf and she's actually started to play well. That is great news.
Yeah.
That's what every dad I think hopes for when they got a daughter, that they get into actually playing golf. That's great.
Dude, I legit think she hit like probably like 4 or 5, like at least like 150, 175. She's 11 and she has no swing. Like, I'm trying to figure out her. I keep trying to tell her, you got to turn your hips. You got to turn your hips. Come on, like athletic move. She doesn't get it because
Well, that's going to open so many avenues for you. The fact your daughter's playing golf now, I'll be like, okay, hey, the wife's saying you got to, pay attention to the kids. Like, all right, I'm going to take her golfing. That's a huge win.
My wife loves, like, she's like, because I have taken her, but now like I haven't taken her in like 2 months, and now she wanted to go again, and it seems like it's weird how fast it goes. You'll see. They'll go from like little itty babies to, oh no, we're coming up on the teenage years in like a week. Mm-hmm. And like they get bigger and you'll see things but now she's like more athletic and she loved it. I was super excited. She was super excited. Yeah, I was very happy about
that. All right. Well, in 2031, I'm sure we'll be having this conversation when we're still new in this podcast by then. And Cam has hit 100 outrights between now and then. So, all right.
Cam has pointed out retirements.
All right. Last 3 in or out. Victor Hovland playing out the Happy Gilmore script of sheepishly going back to his old coach saying, "You're right. I was wrong. You're smart. I'm a moron.
I'm dumb.
You're good looking. I'm not." Is Hovland going to get back on track, or was this just a blip?
He is. Remember, about 3 weeks ago, you asked me if I was targeting him in matchups. I said, nope, I'm too scared. Like, he's too good of a golfer for me to do that. And we saw this. Oh, and now he withdrew already this week. But yeah, he's a good betting opportunity. Like, what a moron for fucking going away from there. He was the best golfer on the planet at the end of last season. It's so silly. It just shows you how stupid human beings are. And us for doing the same thing and doing narratives and this and that. Like, well, he's a fucking loser. He can't do it. Well, guess what? They do it because they're good enough, and we overthink everything. Like, I really think we overthink everything.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, it also shows you how, as Derbicker pointed out earlier, how hard bet on golf is when this guy can be a complete bum for 5 months, and he has one practice session with his old coach and gets back with him, and he's just finally fixed. Like, stuff changes very quickly in this game. And a lot of times it's when we just don't know what's happening, like a putter change, or do you know how many guys like people make big deals about like when like guys are making like big driver change, like club change. These guys are making tweaks every single week. They're adding new clubs to their bag based on the golf course every single week. And we don't know about it. And it can make a giant difference in this sport. So we're been a lot blind with this stuff and just hoping that, hey, this guy's strokes gain stats for the last 4 weeks is going to translate this week. And sure enough, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. So very encouraged about Hovland. It's too bad though. We're probably going to stop getting good odds on Hovland. But with that said, you probably weren't betting him until, unless you're Cam back in December, betting 60 to 1 on Hovland or 55 to 1 on Hovland, just taking a leap of faith. That's pretty good bet this week. So
Cam, come back on real quick. Fucking Vic would have been better for you financially, yeah?
No, it was the same. So that's another thing was like normally I bet one.
All right, that's fine. I just wanted to know.
So yeah, like I bet double the amount on him. So I was like, all right, I'll just bet double the amount on Xander, and so it was the same payout.
Okay.
But one more thing while I'm on here. Like my uncle called me to talk about the golf tournament, and he said he compared Xander to Phil Mickelson. What do you think of that take?
I mean, I kind of just already made that comparison earlier with the Phil had the lip in for the Masters to finally get it, and then Xander had the lip in to finally get the major. Yeah, I mean,
Xander is not going to be Phil Mickelson.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
Phil was a way more decorated, celebrated golfer, beloved golfer at that point.
Good golfer.
Yeah. I mean, I probably would have to think about it as far as a guy who struggled for so long and finally got the major that was not on this caliber of Phil. So there's one, but I've had a couple drinks and I'm a little on tilt. So I probably can't think of it right now. But maybe on Tuesday, if I still care about the topic, I'll come up with a guy. So, all right. 2 more. In or out on Patrick Cantlay?
Out. I've told you out for fucking ever.
So
out.
So out.
Out. I've told you fucking last goddamn 2 years. No. He won the PGA because of Rahm had COVID. He got pulled off. He had a
Memorial
fucking shot lead.
Don't make Cantlay a major winner. He won the Memorial, not a PGA.
I know. I'm saying, like, that's his biggest win. And he won the FedEx Cup. The FedEx Cup. No one cares about the fucking FedEx Cup. Literally. No one in the world cares about the FedEx Cup except the kid getting the check from the FedEx Cup. No golf fan cares about the FedEx Cup. Period.
Now, listen, if Cantlay could not even sniff contention in the most benign, easy, soft, major setup we have ever seen on a Jack Nicklaus golf course that he has absolutely pummeled in his career over and over, it has never happened for the guy.
And how old is Cantlay? Cantlay's what? He's in mid-30s, right?
He's like 31 or 32.
Either way, bum. Loser, fucking stupid hat gate. You rallied your team to still lose by fucking 4. Good job. We have the same fucking bums on the same Ryder Cup team, the same fucking losers. I don't care if fucking Xander just won this. I don't care. I don't care. He's still a fucking loser.
All right.
He's still a loser.
All right. Well, I will say though, we have some stinker PGA venues coming up.
Oh, I know. You fucking texted. It was so depressing. I don't know why you did that.
Well, why don't I bring up one more topic? In or out, Valhalla is a major championship venue. In or out?
Fucking out. Are you serious? Anyone who watched this should say out. If not, they don't like golf. Like, they just don't like golf. Like, I don't care if it can be 15 under if it's a tough course. This thing was so benign, so easy. There was no tough putts, no nothing. Like, the worst. The worst.
Mm-hmm. You know, we have been spoiled by PGA setups the last couple of years. We had Kiowa in 2020.
But that's what they're supposed to do.
That was great. We had Southern Hills in 2022. That was great. We had Oak Hill in 2023, which that had its detractors, but it was a major championship setup. And the difference between the folks that run Oak Hill and the membership at Oak Hill, to their credit, is that they realize they are a golf club first.
Yes.
And they are golf crazy. And they realize that they need to put investments and money and resources into restoring their golf course and modernizing for the recent game.
We were there. Think about what that course looked like when we walked it and we looked at it compared to what this fucking thing looked like.
Well, not even that. What it looked like before all of those changes. They completely changed the golf course to not only restore it to the Donald Ross principles and all that stuff that happened, but also to make it a true modern test of golf. And instead, the very next year, you had Valhalla that was way more concerned about building a fucking horse barn and redoing their clubhouse and probably having 15 task forces and committees to figure out how to properly name their holes to celebrate Kentucky. And, you know, take a couple weed whackers and plant a couple grass seeds and make a couple tee boxes.
What needs to be celebrated about fucking Kentucky? It's Kentucky.
Listen, apparently Louisville is very fervent. Apparently, I mean, it's similar to Rochester in the standpoint they don't have a professional sports team. They just have their college team at this point. They got the Kentucky Derby. It's great. They have a lot of pride. It's a fervent fan base, but huge whiff. And I really, if the PGA goes back to Valhalla over my hometown course in Oak Hill because it was too cool with the temperatures, like,
yeah, we go full live. We go full live. Full live. We just go full live.
That has nothing to do with it. We go full USGA at that point. Who is actually serious about going to good golf courses, if that's what's the case. So I really hope, all due respect to people in Louisville, Kentucky, that
I tried to respond to Dirk McGurk. They said they aren't going there again. Of course, Scotty catches a pass. I tried to apparently use the word that they wouldn't let me use.
Okay, I didn't catch that, but whatever. Okay, all right.
You got our comments that I made.
Okay, all right. We're 48 minutes into the show. Why don't we take our second ad break? And then let's finally talk about.
We're going to take the second and the third. Let's just kill it all at once.
And then we'll talk about Colonial.
Okay. So, Underdog Fantasy. The NBA playoffs are here. The Celtics are there, unlike the Bruins. And our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting. The Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and so much more. Make entries of all basketball or mix and match, crush all your favorite other sports. You win 100 times your money, and it's a ton of fun. Underdog is available in 30 plus states, including Cali, Texas, and even our northern brethren, Canada. So listen, go check it out. They got pickup specials for whatever sports you want to do. You can, when you sign up, you get them in the lobby, and Underdog will be running a ton of different promos, bonus cash, airdrops, specials, giveaways, and more throughout the NBA playoffs. So make sure to follow at Underdog Picks on Twitter to keep an eye out. Underdog Fantasy is available in 30 plus states, including California, Texas, and Canada. They also launched Champions, their player versus player format in Florida. So sign up today with promo code GOLFSGPN to claim your first special pick, plus up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code GOLFSGPN. And listen, if you guys are planning on watching the Charles Schwab preview this weekend, you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm's golf features make it easier than ever to find the best betting opportunities for, like we said, the Charles Schwab Challenge preview. By letting users create custom betting models and instantly see bet recommendations for outright winners, top 5, top 10s, and top 20s, Rhythm presents these recommendations in a menu-like format, make it easy for your models to agree and helping for you to feel confident in your betting decisions. Rhythm also has an AI caddy, which gives bettors a chance to see every single golfer in a field simulated performance thanks to Rhythm's powerful AI algorithm. And you can all use this, find huge plus money betting opportunities throughout every tourney. Rhythm is the ultimate golf betting and DFS companion. Download now and start a free 7 trial to bet smarter today. Rhythm is available wherever you get all your good apps.
Okay.
That was super long. Sorry, everybody. We were later and everything, so we had to beat it all at once.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about Colonial. Let me share my screen here. So here's Colonial Country Club. Well, that's actually the first one. Let's zoom out a little bit. This is in Fort Worth, Texas. And this golf course,
about to ask you where in Texas this was.
It's Fort Worth, which they have decided that we need 2 tournaments in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area.
Oil money, baby. Oil money.
Well, based on what we saw with the Byron Nelson, I would say this is the vastly superior golf course and golf tournament of the 2. The Colonial Country Club was built in 1936. And I love telling this story, by the way. You always forget, so it's always great to see your surprised face whenever I tell this. This golf course was essentially built on a dare. And there were people that were telling Marvin Leonard, who was the founder of the club, that there was absolutely no chance in hell he could build and grow and sustain a golf course fully bent grass, tee to green. And he wanted to build something that just basically would resemble the conditions of Augusta National. He admired it, and he wanted to build a bent grass golf course in the heart of Texas. Well, as our producer can probably attest to, and clearly he's an expert in agronomy and grass types and knows exactly when to bet certain golfers in certain grass types. He probably is absolutely expert to know that there was absolutely no chance to sustain a tee to green bent grass golf course in oppressive Texas heat conditions. And guess what? All the naysayers to Marvin Leonard were right. He tried to build a fully bent grass golf course. It did not work because it gets to 95 degrees in the summer. You need too much water and chemicals. And back in the 30s, in the Great Depression,
95 is like
what's that?
95 is a light day. 95 is a light day in July.
Okay, well, I think bent grass.
Ooh, it's balmy. I need to get a hoodie on.
All right. Well, I think bent grass dies at 86 degrees. So
yeah, so it's good by May.
Yes. But instead, once that failed, he ended up hiring Perry Maxwell, who was the architect of the of Southern Hills, the site of the 2022 PGA Championship, along with John Bredemus. They oversaw the construction to create Colonial Country Club. And while they could not fulfill Marvin Leonard's dream of a wall-to-wall bent grass golf course, they were able to sustain bent grass greens based on certain strains of it. And watering it and making, nurturing it to make sure that it can grow. And he created Colonial Country Club. And this golf course has been hosting PGA Tour events since 1946. It's actually, I think, the longest standing golf tournament on the PGA Tour to hold a singular event at a single golf course. And this is a true classic in its own right. I mean, it's very tight, narrow fairways, positional golf, even with modern technology. There are some guys that have tried to overpower the golf course. John Rahm, namely. I remember when he was talking about Colonial, he mentioned that he loves Valderrama. That's also a very tight tree line golf course that he can be aggressive on it. John Rahm took some aggressive lines off the tee here, just very success. There's been a couple other guys too, like Sam Burns, that's had a lot of success taking aggressive lines off the tee. But overall, though, this is the tight nature of Colonial, even though it's short, has kind of withstood the test of time. It's still very much a positional golf course. We'll start with the first hole here. We're not going to go through everything. I'm not going to do what we did last week at Valhalla.
What are the biggest changes?
Can you just let me build the narrative and the story first?
Sure.
Please. Okay. Thank you. This is the first hole. This is a slight dog leg right par 5. You got a couple bunkers over here, a lot of trees over here. You see a lot of guys hook their tee shots into these trees here. I think JT did that back in 2022 when he won the PGA. He ended up just in complete jail here. Yeah, this is one of the tougher this is a relatively difficult par 5. I mean, I think modern technology has definitely made it a lot easier over the years, but it's not an easy driving hole. You got these 2 bunkers over here. You got the trees over here. It's very tight. You got to the only way to get there in 2 is you got to, basically hit the fairway here. Otherwise, there's very thick Bermuda rough. So, and we'll talk about that in a little bit as far as the penalty for hitting in the rough. It's if you're in the rough in the Bermuda, and you can attest to it, Boston Capper, living in Florida.
It's the worst.
Yeah, it's the worst.
The worst. The worst.
So
the only thing worse than thick Bermuda rough is a tight Bermuda lie.
Yes. So, and there's not many on this golf course, at least what it was before. I'll get the changes a little bit, but deep Bermuda rough around most of the greens. There's that. Let's talk about the horrible horseshoe, though. A very difficult stretch. This is the most infamous stretch of holes here on the golf course because it plays in a horseshoe manner. You got the third hole here. Dog leg left here. You got to basically carry it over the bunkers here, but you don't have any real estate to operate with because it's only about 25 yards away the fairway. You got trees over here. This is out of bounds over on the driving range here. So just not a lot of places really put the ball. And sets up a longer approach shot into green. It's 483 yards. Number 4 here, 250 yard par 3. Very difficult here. And then number 5 here, you have out of bounds in the river over on the right here. You have a big ditch running down here. Long, narrow par 4. Go ahead.
That's not the one that his ball went backwards on, right? That's like a man-made thing later on.
Whose ball?
Rio.
I don't. Oh no, that was 18.
All right. Okay.
Now, the only thing I know about this, one of the famous stories about this hole is Arnold Palmer used to be a big troll on the tee here. I think it was Palmer, and because this fairway, it's actually one of the most difficult par 4s to hit the fairway on the PGA Tour. He used to tell everybody when he hit the fairway, he said, "Man, that's the first fairway I hit all week here." And he said it in order to play mind games with his playing partners to kind of psych him out a little bit. So you think Arnold Palmer is big, sweet guy, nice guy, very mellow. Everybody, he was he definitely had some gamesmanship to him. So I just want to
that's how we all think about you, Steve, and we all really know how you are.
Thank you. But I just want to point out number 6 here. So this is basically the prototypical par 4 at Colonial. Tight, narrow, landing zone is protected by a couple bunkers on left and right here. And most guys, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, maybe on this hole, you're trying to carry the bunker over here with a driver. But overall, though, guys play mostly positional golf, at least tee to green on this hole. A lot of 3 woods, a lot of less than driver. Just making sure you don't hit in the fairway bunkers over here. Keep it in the fairway. And then you're hitting to, a very small green, not all that undulated just because they're very old. But you see a lot of positional golf. And most par 4s on this golf course are like that. But as you tried to reference earlier, there have been several changes to Colonial. And you guys know me. You guys know that I always come to this podcast prepared with everything you need to know about this golf course. And I really put a lot of pride and stake in that. I scoured the internet about what exactly was done to this golf course. And while I know that Gil Hanse and Jim Wagner came in, they were the same architects that redid and restored Southern Hills. I found exactly 2 articles written in the last 2 months about the actual changes made to Colonial Country Club. I subscribe to a bunch of golf architecture emails that are pushed to me, It has
Wait,
mentioned.
you subscribe to golf architectural emails?
I know you're shocked by this.
What?
I have not heard a single mention about the work done at Colonial in any of those. The only things I found was one article on the Dallas Morning News, which unfortunately is now behind a paywall because I clicked on it too many times. I can't
Dude,
remember
first
what
of all,
it
how many of these newspapers are always behind a paywall?
is. Plenty
I'm
apparently.
like, I'm not paying you 99 cents for something I can go find somewhere else. Like,
Well,
just
there,
figure out a way to monetize your business. You fucking
there
moron.
was a free one on the, I forget what it's called, but it's the Fort Worth newspaper. And so let me show you, because I love using Google Earth to show you guys what the golf course looks like. This is the latest satellite imagery. And you can actually see what it's like when you completely redo a golf course. All of this construction right here is, you're not having much to go by. I have my push pins about where stuff was, but this is from July 2023. So basically what happened was after Griot sunk the winning putt, they took out the bulldozers because they only had a year to completely redo the entire golf course and restore it to the original Perry Maxwell design, while also modernizing a little bit, similar to what they did at Southern Hills. So I usually like going to Google Earth and trying to see exactly what they did. I cannot tell based on any of this really what's going on. The only thing I know is there was one article that summarized everything that they did. So I'll read off the main points here. They reconstructed every single bunker and green on the golf course. I would probably imagine it was similar to what they did at Oak Hill a couple of years ago, where they expanded the greens because, when you have these greens with a lot of rough around it, when you're mowing it, the rough just eventually shrinks in the green. You lose certain pin positions. They probably expanded the greens. They probably created some more undulation to it. And they also probably sharpened some bunker edges. I know for a fact here. So I think I'm probably maybe number 10 here is a good example. That's not an example. How about 17 here? All right. So you got 3 bunkers here. They ended up consolidating into 2. So stuff like that. I don't know exactly how it changed as far as if it's steeper face, different sand. They just rebuilt all the greens. They also shifted some greens around. Specifically, I know with number 8, which is a par 3 here. So there's a creek that runs down here. So I'll show you what it was before. So the green used to sit over here. Now you kind of see the outline right here. The green is shifted a little closer to the creek. I don't know if they did tree work. They just moved the green. They did similar work on hole number 13 here. The green used to be a little closer to the water. Now it's pushed back a little bit. They did that to a couple greens. So that's what they did there. They also added sub air below every single green.
Ooh,
so
we all know you're a snob of sub air. So
yes,
there.
The primary purpose is not necessarily for moisture control, which is what people think it is. It's more for temperature control, which is actually going to make these greens a lot healthier because they can actually pump cold air into the roots to keep them, healthy during hot, oppressive temperatures. They also redid all the drainage infrastructure. They had a couple of barranca areas, so it looks a lot more natural and rugged than what it did before. There used to be some stone walls next to supporting the pond walls there. It's all replaced with grass now. So again, it looks a little more natural and rugged. They also took out a bunch of trees over here. So you now can see the Trinity River, which by the way, if you take an inner tube and float all the way down here, you actually get the Trinity Forest over in Tallis. Might take you a little while, but you just take this river here, you'll get there. But they've got a couple trees so you actually see it. The river. It's making it a little more scenic, but that's all I know about it. As far as how I think it's actually going to play, I don't think they changed the yardage. I don't see a ton of tree removal. I have seen nothing about them widening fairways. or creating more runoff areas around the green. Now, they probably did that. I don't know that for sure. But while I think a lot of these changes will make the golf course look better and just, rejuvenate a little bit, I don't know how much is actually going to change what you want to look for in a player. I don't think it's going to change essentially how you handicap it before this versus handicap it now. I think it's just going to be a completely new look Colonial that's going to look great on TV, but I don't think it's going to change the type of player. Like, I don't anticipate this all of a sudden being a golf course where you just pull driver everywhere and bomb it.
So
like,
it's still an approach golf course.
Yeah, it's still a second shot golf course. It's a golf course that is not going to be won, at least in my opinion. Now, this could be completely wrong. Maybe we'll find out by Tuesday if I get new information. But I don't think it's going to be a golf course where Bomber's going to have an advantage or you got to hit every fairway. It's probably going to play similar as always.
So I don't think it was that, right? So, like, I don't think that would have changed. But, like, if they're changing the greens, right, and the complexes of the greens, does that change it?
So why don't we actually get to the course table? Why don't we get to, like, the difficulty of it right here? This kind of actually, because it's how it played before. And kind of like what you mentioned, really difficult off the tee golf course because it's really narrow. You're playing positional golf.
So tight.
Yeah, it's really tight. You could try. Yeah, I mean, you could try cutting corners, but like we mentioned earlier, the really thick, deep Bermuda rough, like, that's difficult to hit out of. If you miss a fairway, that's not great. Especially if it's playing really firm like it was last year. You can't control the ball and the spin out of it, or it can come out dead. Really difficult off the tee golf course, really difficult approach golf course because, even if the approach shots aren't all that long, it's really small greens, small targets, difficult nature. But around the green wasn't all that challenging, and putting it also wasn't that challenging. So what I would probably expect with Gil Hanse was they probably targeted these two areas right here. And I probably would expect that getting up and down probably is going to be a little more difficult because there's probably a little more character to these greens than what they were before. And putting is probably not quite as flat, and they probably have better pin positions they can probably create with these greens where it's not all that easy to putt on. So remember a couple of years ago, you were wondering how Jason Kokrak won this tournament.
I didn't wonder. I had his ticket.
Okay, well, you had his ticket back when we were.
He's my favorite fucking Texan. Do you not remember?
That is true.
Do you not remember the joke? Steve, I am horrified and offended that you do not remember the fact that I had the Kokrak ticket and I called him a Texan pre-fucking tournament when he's clearly a Canadian but looks like a Texan.
I'm sorry. It's been so long since we were regularly giving out outrights on this show. I forgot about that. So, listen, you were so if I go to the around the green difficulty, getting out of bunkers, actually one of the easiest on the PGA Tour. And he's a horrible bunker player per your observations.
Horrible.
Difficult chipping out of the fairway. I mean, like middle of the road chipping out of the fairway because it's Bermuda. Rough, though, because kind of like what we saw this week with Valhalla. It's thick rough around the green, but if you pop the ball out, there's not a lot of character of the green. You're probably going to be able to get it close. So around the green wasn't all difficult. Putting it wasn't all that difficult either under 5 feet, between 5 15 feet, over 15 feet. It was not difficult golfer to putt on. But we see it with, the average driving distance here. Look at the values. Even though with modern technology, guys are a little more aggressive, the average driving distance has not really changed since like 2017, even though guys are hitting it farther out. They're usually taking the same exact strategy. The average driving accuracy is still in the mid 50s, which is below PGA Tour average. So even though their guys are clubbing down, these are difficult fairways to hit. So, and the penalty for missing in the fairway, obviously it's really narrow, but this miss, hitting it in the rough, basically the difference between your average score on a golf course versus, hitting in the rough versus on the fairway in a hole is one of the harder ones in the PGA Tour. It's about a 0.35 stroke difference. So it shows the importance of hitting in the fairway because hitting out of Bermuda is pretty difficult. And then your approach shots, difficult from under 150, different from over 150. I don't expect any of that to change. I probably would expect it to be, if you do miss a green it's not going to be as just mindless and easy to get up and down. So, but the thing is, though, if you look at this course fit tool, based on the predictive skill sets, you already were targeting really good iron players.
Right.
There was already higher correlation of guys who are really good around the green that do really well at Colonial, probably because like there's not many golf courses that are short positional that they can stand a chance on. So those types of golf courses tend to be the ones they actually get up for and do better at. So the profile player, you usually are targeting a guy who's pretty good around the green and a pretty good putter. So I don't think your profile player is going to change all that much, even though the golf course has changed per se.
All right.
You look at like, comparative golf courses, Austin Country Club, that's a golf course that didn't really breed one particular style of golf course, mainly because, you didn't really get a huge advantage of being a big bomber off the tee or, it wasn't, shorter hitters had a good advantage. It was about the other stuff, being a good iron player, being good around the green. Same thing with like Pebble Beach, Harbor Town, Waialae, Southwind. If you go through the list of leaderboards and the type of guys have been good there, it's been mostly those type of guys. We got these types of golf courses. So, and as you can see there, definitely not a high correlation of guys who are really long off the tee versus success. Now, we have seen a lot of guys be good at that, like Sam Burns, Jason Kogar, Ron's been good here. But, it's not the end all be all. You don't have to be long in order to do well here. So, and same with driving accuracy, it's a little below predictive. So it's really about these other three areas that tend to be a lot more predictive to success. So, I probably will not be looking at a ton of off the tee stuff this week. I'm probably gonna try and take like a blind approach, saying like, okay, how are you doing these other three areas, and just go from there.
Yeah, I feel like off the tee is.
Well, yeah, because like how do you actually like when you look at strokes gained off the tee numbers, it's mostly derived from driver. But if you're not hitting driver all that much, it doesn't really do you much good.
Right.
So, and then we'll go to and it actually shows in like how you actually separate yourself in the tournament. Way lower correlation to your total strokes gained, how you do off the tee versus most PGA Tour venues, probably because most guys are hitting the same clubs off the tee. They're trying to hit to a certain target into the fairway. Most guys have a similar strategy. It's harder to separate yourself when everybody has that same strategy over and over, and distance is significantly de-emphasized. But how you hit your irons in tournament generally is able to separate you a lot more. How you get it up and down from around the green, usually able to separate yourself more. Putting, this one, if you go through the years, 2022, it's a little like PGA Tour average. Last year, it was way below. I think because last year, if you remember, the greens were in such bad shape because they just let it go to complete hell. They knew where they're going to bulldoze it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think guys just had a lot of trouble putting that week, and no one was making putts. So, but another year, sometimes a little important. But I think the biggest takeaway is off the tee is not going to win you this tournament. I mean, you got to obviously drive it well, but that's not going to separate yourself easily. It's going to be, okay, put yourself in position, and then it's going to come down to an iron contest. And if the greens are probably really firm, which, by the way, no one has played this golf course since last summer, because they were rebuilding the golf course. And
what if we come out and it's like 10 times harder than what they just played?
Well, this is always usually a pretty difficult golf course. Like last year, the winning score was -8.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, what if this is like 10 times harder than what they just played?
So wait. So if it's a way more difficult golf course than we just played at Valhalla?
Yes.
Oh, it will be.
Oh, I know it's going to be that, but like,
it will be
way more. Like, I think, this set the record by almost like 35 strokes for like the average score of a PGA player on the PGA Championships.
All right. Well, it's important to mention this is a par 70. So this is really, if you want to compare to Valhalla, this is really like 12 under right here, which is still 9 strokes less than what the winning score was, at the this is PGA. This, Sam Burns would have won it if this was a true par 71 at -13.
Burns, what a fucking loser.
Well, Burns played pretty good that day. He ran down Scotty Scheffler, who was going to go to a wedding. He wanted to wear the it's not a tartan jacket, but whatever.
No, is it
a plaid jacket?
No, did he post the number?
Burns posted
and everybody came back to him.
And yes, Yeah, because actually, I remember I live bet Burns. I
He
think
didn't chase him down. He just posted a number, got easy with softer conditions in the morning.
no,
as
that's
Stevie
that.
Burns would do.
No. That's not what happened. Burns was one of the last groups. It was really windy conditions. He shot 5 under on the day, and then everybody else crumbled around him.
So was it? So that must have been the year before. He went out at this tournament, posted a number, and everybody came back to him.
That was it. But it wasn't like he was soft conditions when he did it. It was difficult conditions. He played legitimately an awesome round in round 4. Like he gained 7 strokes on the field that day. So nuts round. And then I remember
he had an early tee time. Went out, posted a number.
No, he didn't have an early tee because he was 4 under heading in. He didn't have an early tee time.
Dude, he was done for like 2 fucking hours.
Okay, well, whatever. I have live betting him. I'm doing all right with that. But I mean, he had an unreal putting day. His was pretty good. All right, regardless, though. So as far as proximity charts, this is mostly attempts between 100 and 200 yards. I think almost 70% of your shots come between 100 and 200. A little less last year, but overall, though, if you focus mostly on your short to mid irons as far as proximity and iron performance, that's probably a good strategy this week. So higher correlation to other PGA Tour venues targeting from this range.
All right.
Okay. All right. I don't have anything else. I will have more hopefully on this golf course and the changes on Tuesday. But we'll see.
What's that? Well, that's a good cliffhanger, but we'll see.
I don't know. It's going to come down to how they report on it. It's going to come down to how they report on
it. Might have some more information.
I don't know. I got to actually find this stuff. And I got to rely on PGA Tour comms actually giving us accurate information.
All right.
It's so mysterious. Like the GCSAA report that I usually rely on to show you guys, they're not even out with anything right now. That's how little information there is about this stuff right now.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know why it's not out, but it's not out.
All right. Well, maybe we get Cam and his Illuminati members to be able to give us some information based on how he's picking, right? Maybe
unless something with work comes up, I'm gonna go on Wednesday to the Pro-Am, and my wife may or may not have heard that Tony Romo was going to be playing, so it became mandatory pretty quick.
Wait, your wife likes Tony Romo?
Oh, my wife's a diehard Cowboys fan.
So then she should not like Tony Romo.
No, she loves him.
Why?
I don't know.
Bring Cassie on. Is Cassie available?
No, she's probably asleep by now. I'm watching Aggie women's tennis. They're in the national championship. So,
all right, let's end this show. It's 11. It's 11.
Let's end this show. Yes.
On the show.
All right, Steve. So we'll be back with maybe not some information on fucking Tuesday about the golf course. Can't tell. Right?
Yeah, it's going to come down to actually what they report about this stuff. Or I can just rely on Cam to give me with his own eyes his expert opinion on how a golf course plays and how new architecture impacts how a tournament goes.
Love it. All right. Well, listen, don't forget, go check us out on our YouTube channel. Hit us up on Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. You can find Steve in our Slack channel.
Discord
channel.
Why do you still mess that up after?
I don't know, man. Because I refuse to go in there because it's a bunch of mushes. Other than that,
we're mushes, so okay.
Yeah, apparently. All right, we'll see you guys on Tuesday. Bye.